Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today here at the Crafter Party. This is Dawn from Thermoweb, and I am going to guide you through a couple fun, kind of out-of-the-box fall cards today using our Deco Foil toner card fronts, which are pre-printed toner items that'll grab your foil when you put it through a hot laminator, and also two of my very favorite foils, the Maker Forte foil transfer sheets in Sunrise Lake and Moonlit Lake. I love these because of all the different holographic kind of rainbow tones you get, and they really look fantastic on just about any kind of card. So first I'd like to just kind of show you each of the individual cards. This is the Moonlit Lake foil, the silver tones. And you can see here at the bottom there's a little foiled sentiment as well. I think you can see that shine. That is actually from the Maker Forte Simple Sayings Across the Miles pack. Both of the cards today use those foilable sentiments, and there are just so many terrific sayings in every single pack, so you really get a lot of sentiments out of each one, and those are available through Maker Forte. And then Maker Forte also has the foilable paper packs. So any of the techniques I'm going to show you today with our Deco Foil products, you certainly can do with Maker Forte's printable or foilable printed papers. So this is the first one. And again, that's the Moonlit Lake foil. And we've got a little bit of Deco Foil flock here for the moon and the grass. So those are fuzzy to the touch, which is kind of fun. And then the little heart that the bear is holding is a brand new product for Thermoweb, so I'll be introducing you to that as well. And then the second card we're going to make is the How Are You card. For these fall cards, I really liked that sentiment pack Across the Miles because they're great sentiments if you're missing somebody, if you haven't seen a friend in a while. So they still have a fall feel, which since this is the fall crafter party, that's what we wanted to do. But you can use those sentiments any time of year and just, make the rest of your card kind of fit the sentiment. So this one, again, has some Deco Foil flock for the pumpkin, the leaves and the stem, the foilable sentiment, and then that same Deco Foil toner card front for the background. So we did a couple different things to get it to go from that pure black and white to what you see here. So I'm going to walk you through how to do each of the backgrounds for these cards and then how to put together the little flocked embellishments and the sentiments. All right, I'm going to set these aside for a moment. So Deco Foil toner card fronts start out 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You get 8 in a package, and they are printed black and white. They are inkable. You can do ink blending, you can watercolor them, you can use markers, colored pencils to add color to the background if you want to. You don't have to. They also look fantastic just leaving them white and adding foil. So I'll show you. This is one of the plain toner card fronts. It's plain on the back, printed on the front. And then if you take a piece of the foil and you lay it on top, like this, and run it through your laminator, which I'm not going to do, I've already done that, and then you peel away that foil, you get that effect. So really looks pretty cool, just the foil and the white. If you notice, you have this nice leftover piece. If you can, here, let me move these to the side, you can see it a little bit better. It's the reverse pattern. So if you take that and add it to a piece of Maker Forte's blank canvas, or Deco Foil toner sheets, solid toner sheets, either one. Then you can peel that off and you have nothing left on your foil, and you've got this second background that you can use for another card. And again, this is the Sunrise Lake. You can see all that beautiful movement in that foil. I just think it's gorgeous. Alexandra did a great job, choosing these specialty foils for the Maker Forte brand. Okay, and then the final thing I wanted to show you before we move on to the actual cards. So this is the toner card front just foiled. This is the same toner card front foiled and ink blended. So I ink blended this with Distress Oxide inks before adding the foil, and it is just a very simple blend. You could do that in any color palette you wanted to. So these toner printed items are just very versatile. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside, and we are going to get started on this little bear card. So what I did for this one, I wanted to add a little bit of texture to the back, the toner card front before I added the foil. So what I decided to do was use a stencil to add a little bit of interest. So it's just a kind of a spotty stencil I had in my stash. I am going to take a little bit of our pixie tape and tape the toner card front to the back so it doesn't slide around. So that'll just kind of keep it in place for me. And you know, if I'm really putting my elbow into it, I might want to go ahead and tape down my stencil to my surface. I am funny, I don't like to get my craft mat dirty, so I always work on a piece of cardstock and I just use it over and over again until it is worse for wear, and then I replace it. Okay, so I used the Distress Oxide ink, Twisted Citron. I thought this would be kind of a fun, unusual color for fall. So I am just gonna use my blending brush and just kind of go over the stencil. Now I could mix colors, you know, if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna use this solid green because I really liked how that turned out on my little bear card. But you can use any colors that you've got in your stash. Distress Oxides blend really well. Alexandra's Hive inks are amazing. I just didn't have any of those to hand right now. And you can use any kind of ink you want on these toner card fronts. They're really forgiving. All right, so we've got that. And I'm gonna remove my stencil and set that aside, and I will clean it later. And I don't know if you can, here, I'll hold it up so you can see a little bit better. Can you see that some of the Distress Oxide, the dots are right over the printed dots? That's just the nature of that ink. It isn't going to affect the foiling, so that'll be just fine. All right, so I'm going to lay that down. I am going to go ahead and use a second color of Distress Oxide ink. This is the Scattered Straw, because I want to add a little more color to that toner card front. So now I'm just going to do kind of a simple blend over the top. I'm not going to be that concerned with, you know, having it be a perfect surface, because I really don't mind if there's kind of a little more texture to this background. So if some of the areas are lighter and some are darker, that's okay with me. All right, so now I have changed that from the black and white to something a little bit more interesting. And I'm just gonna give that a second, you know, to kind of dry and make sure that's ready to go. And in the meantime, I am gonna cut a piece of the Moonlit Lake foil. So if you haven't seen these foils, they are 6 by 12, and you get, let's see, 10 sheets per package. Sorry, I had to double check. But see all that color? I just love it. So I am going to cut the foil a little bit bigger than my panel. All right, a little bit bigger than my panel. I'm going to lay it on top with the pretty side facing up. Then I'm going to put it inside a folded piece of parchment paper, and I've got some pieces that are cut down. I believe Maker Forte sells these as well, so that you can put your piece right up to the creased edge, and that's going to hold everything tightly together so it doesn't move around in the hot laminator. My laminator is off camera, but I'm going to go ahead and run this through. And while we're waiting for that, I've already, so you can see my cardstock, maybe you can see it. It's just like all a mess, but that's fine. While we wait for the foil to run through, I have already created the embellishments for this card. I just had a little teddy bear stamp, and I just thought he was so cute. If you have any kind of critter stamp or ephemera or something that has little hands, it works really well for this card design. So I am going to take this opportunity. Okay, my panel came out, so I'm going to leave this here for a minute. In the meantime, I'd like to show you our newest product. It is called Deco Foil Adhesive Transfers, and these are adhesive sentiments and images that can be transferred two ways. You either can use your hot laminator to transfer the adhesive and the foil, or you can use the pressure from a die cut machine, which people really like because if they don't have a laminator, they still can get very detailed images and add those foil touches to their projects. So each package has two identical sheets. This is the Gina K Designs Love Is package, and I'm just going to use the little heart. This might be a little hard to see here. So I'm just going to use this tiny little heart and add that to my bear. But as you can see, we'll look at this one, sorry. As you can see, there are a lot of different sentiments. With the two sheets in the package, we figure you can make at least 12 cards from every package. And those retail, I believe, for $4.99. They are available on our website at thermoweb.com. And all of the other items that I'm using today, the flock, the foil, you can get those at makerforte.com. Alexandra stocks all of those. Okay, I lost my tiny scissors. Okay, so I am just going to cut this tiny heart from my sheet, and then I can save the rest of those for another project. Hopefully I think you'll be able to see this. So there's a printed front liner and kind of a thinner back liner. I'm going to carefully remove that back liner, and without touching the adhesive on the back, I'm going to place this on my bear. I'm going to lift him up just so you can see him a little bit better. So you see his little hands. I'm going to place that heart right over his two hands and just give it a little tap, and that's all. So these DecoFoil adhesive transfers, it's a two-step process. So you can use the heat from the laminator or the pressure of the die cut machine, but both of those require two steps. You first have to apply the adhesive transfer, then you peel off the top liner, then you apply the foil. So I am going to actually run this through we'll run it through the laminator. But again, you can do it through the die cutting machine. So for tiny little pieces like this, for a card front, you don't need any sort of shim underneath, but for small pieces, we recommend a cardstock shim inside the parchment. So I'm going to put him right up at the fold, and I'm going to run him through my laminator. And I want to go ahead and cut a small piece of the Moonlit Lake foil because I want his little heart to match. So I just cut this tiny little piece, and that should be coming through here in just a moment. And I really like our laminator because it's got a quick release button in the back, so I don't have to wait for that whole big piece to go through. Okay, so here's my little bear. You can see maybe that plastic. See the plastic liner? So I'm going to carefully peel that off, and we'll see if I can show you the adhesive. Let's see if I can catch that. Oh, there you go. Can you see that little heart? So that's adhesive. You don't want to touch it. But what we do want to do is put our foil on top, just like that. And then we're going to put him right back in our little parchment paper pouch on top of the cardstock. And we're going to run him through a second time to transfer that foil. People have asked us with the DecoFoil adhesive transfers if they can use a bone folder or a brayer or just pressure from a popsicle stick or a finger to transfer. And we really find that you get the very best results using either the laminator or the die cut machine because the pressure is heavy and consistent with either of those pieces of equipment, much more so than you can be trying to do it by hand. But we know people have tried it by hand and been happy with their results too. So it's up to you. You do get two sheets, so if one doesn't work, then you know you'll need to use one of your machines. There are now, let's see, 6, 7. I think we have 11 sets of or possibly more now. We just released some new ones. Sets of Decofoil adhesive transfers. Currently, we have sets from 3 of our brand partners, and you can find those on our website at thermoweb.com. We've got a helpful video, and be sure to follow us on Instagram because we've started to do reels. So we're going to have more content available there using all kinds of different products together, and the Maker Forte foils, the 2 I'm using today, and then the others that are available in the Maker Forte store, look phenomenal on these adhesive transfers. We just had someone do a floral card using Hearts of the Ocean, the Maker Forte foil, on black cardstock, and it was stunning. So be sure to look for that. All right, and our little bear is out. So we're gonna open up our pouch. And peel and reveal. We're going to peel away that foil, and he's holding a tiny little heart. Shiny, shiny, shiny. So, so that is our bear, and then here is our panel that we stenciled, remember, and we ink blended. So I'm going to peel away the piece of foil. See all that rainbow color? Oh, I just love it. So you do have this negative piece, we call it negative or leftover, that you can transfer onto a piece of the Maker Forte blank canvas if you want to make another card. I'm just going to set that aside for right now because we want to go back to our background. So we've got our background, and the other pieces that I had mentioned in the beginning, I knew I wanted to do like a harvest moon sort of a thing, but I decided the circle I cut was a little bit too big. So I went back in with my circle die and I just shifted it a little bit and cut again so that I ended up with my little crescent moon. So that's just a quick little tip. And I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to put it. So I used our liquid Ultra Bond glue on the back. I just did, mine is getting down to the bottom, so, oops. Oop, I overdid it. So I'm gonna remove a little bit of that. Of course, that happens in my live video here. So, okay, so I removed some of that. I just squeezed way too hard. And then I am gonna put it up here in the corner of my card. And the nice thing about the liquid is it does give me a little bit of wiggle room if I'm not 100% happy with the placement. So that looks pretty good to me. And then the other piece is let me show you how our flock comes. So our original flock colors come 4 sheets per pack, and they are 6 by 12 like the Maker Forte foils. And this is flock on a paper backer. So some people had used flocking before. It was popular among stampers, but it was very messy. It was just loose, fuzzy fibers in a jar. So these flocks, the Decofoil flocks, are adhered to a paper liner so that you can die cut it or transfer it. It can also be transferred to Decofoil adhesives, not the toner card fronts, but actual adhesives. And it just adds a fun, fuzzy touch, something a little different for your cards. So I took some of the Green Envy and I die cut a little grass border using a grass little border die I had. So I am going to use my adhesive runner and just put tape on the back. And I'm going to line this up with the bottom of my card front like that. And then I can trim so that it is even. So that one is done. And I'm just checking my time here. It looks like I'm at about 20 minutes. So we really don't have that much left to do. I am going to take my little bear, and I want to give him a little bit of dimension. So I am going to pop him up with the Gina K foam squares. These are also available in the Maker Forte store. They're nice and thin, and what I really like about them is they're in this dispenser box. So you just sort of pull up on the liner and they pop out. So I'm going to turn him over. And add one more. And then we'll peel off the liner. We'll add him to our card. And then the last thing we really need to do is foil our sentiment from the Maker Forte Simple Sayings pack. So I'm going to put my bear here. And you think about, you know, the moon being far away, and so I picked the miles apart but besties at heart. I thought that sentiment really went well with my little flocked moon and the little heart in the bear's hands. So let's see, I have miles apart but besties at heart. So this is one of the sheets from the Simple Sayings pack. Again, that's the Across the Miles. And Maker Forte does have dies available now that will cut a lot of these sentiments. I don't happen to have the dies, so I'm just going to hand cut it for speed here. So I am just going to go right in, cut out my sentiment. And then it's nice too, because there are these strip sentiments in the Simple Sayings pack, but then there are also some really great larger you know, kind of image-based sentiments too. I just love this one, the I miss you. And I love that you get both like the positive and the, you know, the black background image. So you can get different looks depending on what you're working on. And then I was going to show you, you might be familiar, this is the Maker Forte Black to Basics Pattern Square Paper Pack. So you certainly could use these in the place of the Deco Foil toner card fronts, and they'd work the same way. You know, you can ink blend and do all of those things, add foil, really customize them to fit your project. All right, so for my sentiment, I am going to cut a strip of my silver foil, my Moonlit Lake. All right. Oh, I need this piece. Okay, so obviously you can see those words are very teeny tiny. So to be sure that nothing moves on me as I put it in the laminator, I am going to put my sentiment here. I am going to put my foil on top. And then I'm going to take another piece of that pixie tape that we used when we taped the toner card front to secure that, because I really want to make sure nothing shifts. And then I'm going to show you another little tip with pixie tape for intricate foiled designs. So let me run that through. And we're almost done with this. So, so that one went together pretty quickly. If you have any questions about the products that I've used today, you certainly can hop on our website if you want to find videos. The products are available there. They are also, a lot of them are available from Maker Forte. So, you know, definitely shop the Maker Forte store first. And if you have any questions about anything I've done today, you certainly can reach out to us via the chat feature on our website. Or you could also contact me. I'll go ahead and share my email address. That is dgehring, Gehring, at thermoweb.com. And I'm the creative director here, but I also sometimes get to have fun and make things and share them with new folks. So that's always great. Okay, so I am going to remove my pixie tape and set my little shim aside. All right, so here is our beautiful foiled sentiment. Every single thing I have ever used from Maker Forte, and I'm also a customer, everything I've used just foils beautifully. But let's see if we can focus. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but in some of the letters, like the inside of the R, the inside of the B in the word besties, sometimes those tiny foiled letters hold on to a little extra foil along the edges, so it looks like it's not as clean. There you go. So what you can do is you can get rid of that scrap. You can take your piece of pixie tape and just very lightly, like very barely touching it, very lightly, And then you can peel that up. And do you see that, how it cleaned up the bee? And you can see some like foil attached to the tape. All it does is it just cleans up those tiny, tiny details so that it's perfect. So that was kind of a happy accident we discovered about pixie tape, and it is really handy. On my original card, I had ink blended before I foiled. I forgot to do that this time. So we are just going to glue that on. I am cleaning up my messy glue bottle, and that is my fault. I should have grabbed a new one. I've had this one for quite a while. And again, nice thing about liquid glue, it does give you a little bit of wiggle room, but because I'm attaching this to flock, I'm not going to have as much wiggle room as I would if it was just, you know, paper to paper. So I am going to add that right down here. Oh, I don't know. I think it looks okay white, actually. It stands out a little more. So that is fine. And then what I did to finish this Miles Apart but Besties at Heart card, I did a little ink blending on my card just to kind of tie it in with the rest of my design. And I'm just using the little bit of ink that was left on my blending brush. I always like to matte things on black. I feel like that really helps them pop. And then you just adhere it together and you've got your card. So I am very excited to see more simple sayings packs coming from Maker Forte. I just think they are really handy and give you tons of different sentiments. So yeah, pick those up. Okay, so we are done with our little bear card, and we are going to set those aside. Another thing that you can do with toner card fronts is, in addition to ink blending and stenciling, you can stamp on them. So I used dye ink in 3 fall colors to stamp my background. That was my first step on the toner card front. Then I did a little bit of ink blending between the stamps. Then I added foil. Then I created my little fuzzy pumpkin here. Can you hear that? The flock is so fun. So let's, we're almost at a half hour. So why don't we just go through really quickly, go through that background. Okay, so all I did here, I had an autumn leaf stamp. And I just wanted to add a little bit of a fall feel. I didn't really care too much how, how I put things down. Obviously, I could get probably a little more perfect results if I use a stamp positioner or something. But I didn't really, that wasn't really my focus. So I just did 3 different colors. I think I did 5 of each leaf, and just kind of turned them around that background. You can see they're just very random, kind of like falling leaves. And I know Maker Forte is in Florida, and she does not, Alex does not get falling leaves, I don't think. And in the wintertime, I will be very jealous because she also does not get snow. So I'm happy that we're working on fall. I feel like winter in the Midwest comes far too soon, and we'll be here before we know it. So, okay, so I'm almost done here. We'll do just a couple of green leaves. Get those on there. And again, I mean, this is a technique you can do with any stamps in your stash. I keep moving off camera here. Sorry, everyone. Any stamps in your stash. You can do winter cards, floral cards, just pretty much anything. Okay, so we'll go with that. And then I took the scattered straw distress oxide for my background. I'm going to let that dry just like for a second. All right, and then I just kind of filled in with some color. And people ask, because the distress oxides will interact with water and things like that. I don't really recommend getting our Decofoil toner card fronts too wet because they will curl up a little. I mean, they'll flatten out when they're dry, And the laminator often will help them sort of dry out too. So, you know, use your judgment. You certainly can try those water reactive techniques, but you might want to do a test, you know, before you proceed onto your card. So, okay, so we've got those ready to go, or that background. Now I am going to cut a piece of the Sunrise Lake, the more gold toned foil. Get the silver out of here. And I'm going to do my foiling the exact same way I did that first panel. You don't really have to wait a long time for the inks to dry or anything, because the laminator is going to kind of do that for you. So again, this is going to go inside my parchment. I'm going to run that through. While that's running through, I wanted to show you a little bit. I did something a little bit different on this flocked embellishment. So for the moon and the grass on the bear card, I just glued them on the way they were. This one, I did the circles again to make a giant pumpkin. And then I had some leaf dies in my stash, and I just cut a little rectangle from the flock. So this is where I cut the 2 leaves out. That'll show you like paperback, flock front. It die cuts really, really well. So this, I got a little lazy and I just decided I wanted a little bit of definition. So I'm not even ink blending. I'm like just going around the edges of the shapes with my tiny ink cubes, just because I wanted it to have like a little bit of a rustic look. So that's all. Again, not real perfect. Sometimes I am a pretty crafty card maker, you know, more crafty than perfect, and I kind of like that look sometimes. So this one I got a little bit more ink on than I wanted, so I'm going to hide him in the back. That's what we creative people do. We turn our mistakes into a whole new idea, and then they aren't a mistake. All right, so here's my background. So just kind of fun. You know, it just adds like another layer of interest. Foiled beautifully. Okay, and then for this card, I'll just walk, whoop. I moved back a little bit. All right, for this card, basically all I did was overlap my pumpkin. I put the stem down. Oh, I forgot to do the stem and the leaves. Those I did with a little ink cube too, green, just to give it a little bit of, again, that little bit of a rustic look, and you just tap, tap, tap until it kind of evens out a little bit. So that's good enough. You can also stamp on our flock. So if you had a leaf stamp, you could stamp onto the leaf and then die cut it. And that is kind of a handy little thing too. Okay, so I'm going to put the stem down. I'm going to put the big pumpkin in front, or the big circle, I should say. And then for my leaves, I just kind of did this. You know, I would glue all those down with my liquid glue. And for the sentiment, let's see. We'll do the reverse this time. So for this one, I did the white background with the Sunrise Lake foiled sentiment. This time I'm going to just detail cut this black background, and then we'll put that through with the same foil, and you can see the difference in the positive and I guess sort of the negative image. All right, we're going to cut a little piece of foil. All right, so we have the black sentiment. I'm going to put that on top. Oop, I barely cut that big enough. Good enough. Okay. Again, I can tape this down with my pixie tape. This one's a little bit bigger because it's a circle and not a strip, so I think it's going to be okay. We're going to just run that through. And then again, for the background, I ink blended my the edges of my card. I'm going to do this one with the green. One of the things I love about ink is you can make any color cardstock that you need. You don't need tons and tons of colored cardstock, although I do have a lot of that too. Okay, and then we've got our black matte layer. We have our background with our pumpkin who has moved, but that's okay. All right, and then our little sentiment just came out. All right, and our last peel and reveal. Very nice. So you see the white words for how are you, and then the background is foiled. So then I could either use our liquid glue or those Gina K foam squares if I wanted to pop it up. I think I'm gonna do that actually. Let's pop it up since we popped up the other one. I kind of like when the shiny part sticks out, you know. And so these were just a couple of fun, more crafty cards showing you some unique things that you can do to foilable papers. And then, you know, from ink blending to stenciling and just different ways that you can add a little bit of texture to your printed toner papers. So that's all I've got today. It's a lot of shine. Thanks again very much to the team at Maker Forte for letting us be here, and I hope you enjoyed the tips. Thanks so much. Have a great party. Bye-bye.